Hey guys, Sam Landa here, and welcome to vlog number 2.
We'll be standing with our heads held high, reaching for a distant star. Whoa, yeah, we can't get that far.
A couple of weeks ago, I talked about the first S of the 5S development model, which was security, and today I'm going to be talking about structure. But before I enter into that, I kind of want to premise it with there's going to be a lot of parents who watch this video, or maybe you're thinking about having a family someday and you're watching this video, and you may think that a lot of what I'm discussing may be overwhelming, and honestly there are some parts that are, at least when you're actually practicing it, that can be overwhelming, but it's doable. So for those parents who are currently parents and have little ones, you know, as I'm sharing this, you might say, Sam, what you're sharing, it's just not realistic. It's not what we're doing. My parents did something different and I came out fine, and all that is great, and I get it and I understand it. But what I'm trying to share is basically is what's ideal. And because it's ideal, I think it will be beneficial to implement a lot of what I'm discussing here today. If your parents did something different and you came out fine, again, that has nothing to do, or that's not to say that your parents did a bad job in raising you. What we're looking at here is what's ideal for the child. And as you continue to listen and you hear some things that I mentioned, you might say, well, Sam, that's just not realistic. And honestly, one of my greatest pet peeves is when people say that's not realistic, because all it takes to make something realistic is to go out and do it, right? When I was when I had my firstborn, my first son Bo, one of the things that I really committed to, and I stuck to it, was not letting him cry it out, especially for those first 0 to 18 months. I know that's really popular, or it's a method that a lot of parents try to use to have their children adjust to their schedules. But for me personally, because I know kind of the connections that children are making and how we're supposed to provide a secure base for them to understand and interpret their world in a way where they know that they can count on us. That was a commitment I made to myself, and I told my wife about it as well. And so if he was crying at at most 5 minutes, and if he was still crying, we'd go in there, calm him down, and try to meet whatever need he was. He was always changed, fed. We spent time with him, but there was just sometimes where we just didn't know. We didn't know why he was crying, but he wanted something. He wanted us. So we would go in and meet that need. So the whole crying out perspective or mentality is not something that I personally ascribe to, but so far what I have done with my son, which is not letting them cry it out, has worked. And I think when it comes to structure, it definitely is beneficial. Now I'm going to jump into structure, but basically I wanted to premise with, if you didn't do these things, or if your parents didn't do these things, it doesn't make you a bad parent, doesn't make your parents bad parents. It just, what I'm trying to say is that this is what would be ideal, and if you're able to do it, then definitely do it. I know the family structure today is very different. Both parents are working, or it's a single parent. It just makes all of this stuff a lot harder. But I don't want you to think that it's impossible, because it is doable. I know there's different situations that allow for different ways of doing things, but I just want to encourage you that if you do want to do something like this, that it is possible. It's just a lot of hard work. So I totally get that. So I'm gonna talk about structure, and when I talk about structure, it's really what I'm talking about really is about routines and expectations of behavior. Okay, you're providing a structure for children, and routines essentially are things that help our children know what's coming next. It provides them with a sense of security because they can expect to see something happen next. So for example, my favorite times when I have to put my oldest son to bed, because I say night night and he may say and that's okay. All I have to do is go and pick him up, and we find his blanket, and then we just go upstairs and I put him in his bed, and I just tuck him in, give him a kiss, say I love you, and then he's fine, right? Totally fine. He seems to resist by saying but he really doesn't care. He knows what's going to happen, just going upstairs to take him to bed. So so that works for him. He knows that whenever I say night night, it's time for him to go to bed, and he does. So that provides a sense of security in a lot of ways, because they know what's going to happen next. When they wake up in the morning, are they going to eat first? Are they going to watch TV? Are they going to play with mommy and daddy? Whatever routine you have with your child, just make sure that it's consistent, right? We go back to the idea of quick, consistent, and effective. In this case, we're just looking at consistency. Are you consistent in your routine with your child? Life happens. I know it's not going to happen like that every single day, but that there is a level of consistency in providing that sense of structure, right? Because everything is structure, everything is routines. They're going to have family relationships, they're going to go to school, they're going to work a job, they're going to even with the government, right? Everything has a sense of structure, a sense of routine. So if you can get them started with that in the home, then they can carry out that behavior with them when they go out and enter into the real world, right? So routines and expectations provide this sense of structure. Okay. The second thing I will talk about is the goals or expectations of behavior that we were taught. I put up a question yesterday. So before that, the purpose of expectation is teaching your child how you or your family does things, right? So there's things that you learned from your parents that they taught you when you were very young, and that even till this day you practice those things, right? And here's a couple of things that were mentioned by a few of you, the response to the questions yesterday. So a couple of expectations of behavior. One of them was look people in the eye and give a good handshake. I really like that one. Adults are addressed as Mr. and Mrs., or sometimes yes sir and yes ma'am, right? Unless they prefer that you call them by a separate name. Respect your elders. Always show appreciation, even for the small things. I really like that one a lot. Ask to be excused from the table. Dress well. Don't just represent yourself, you represent your family as well. And Sundays are for church and rest. So as you can see, these are expectations of behavior that you learned from your parents, and that has benefited you in a great way in how you interact with the world around you, right? Or what you do on your daily. You have a sense of structure. So essentially what you're doing is not just giving your child routine, but you're also giving them an expectation of behavior, how to behave when they do engage the world around them. In a world of chaos and disorder, children desperately need structure. And the structure that's provided within the home then manifests itself when they go out and engage the real world. So give your kids structure by providing routines and expectations of behavior, and they will definitely turn out to be outstanding citizens of this country. That is it for today. I will answer a Q&A in a separate video, and I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll see you next week.
We'll be standing with